Oh, good morning to you all. Good morning. It's Monday, 28th of August 2023. And, oh, excuse me. And I've got great plans for lots of things that I want to get done today. And many of them aren't going to happen because it's on and off drizzle and rain. So, what to do? Well, we can do a little bit to that. We can do some gardening. We can, sort of between the drizzle, between drinking tea, of course. What I've done so far this morning is I've cleaned this little thing. Now, while I was doing this, I was sort of looking at it thinking, is that a casting or a forging or what is it? Well, of course it's a casting. And what this piece does, it bolts onto one of the pieces of the carriage, or it's fixed with carriage bolts, and it traps the bracket that holds the roof, if you will, the capo for the carriage. And while I was doing this, I thought, yeah, it's little things like this that tell you whether a country is great or not. You know, different countries, they have ideas of greatness. Some countries, half the country buys a baseball cap that's a colour with letters on it that talks about making Afghanistan great again, or whatever it is. But what you need for a country to be great is the little forges, foundries and workshops that make things like this. The way we do things now is we buy these in from foreign countries that buy all of our scrap metal and pay their workers a handful of rice a week to make these. But the way things used to be done was every little town had a foundry, and in that foundry you had people who could make one of these in wood, who understood the shrinkage rates of different materials. Now, this is cast iron, but they would have made things in brass and bronze and all sorts of different materials, and each material shrinks at a different rate. And there would have been apprentices that would have taken the wooden one with nice round corners on it, and they would have got core boxes, and they would have packed it in different mediums. We always talked about green sand, which was a sand that was mixed with some sort of oil, and it stank, and you pack a box and you push that in, and you pack sand all round it, and you pack another box over the top, and then someone makes a hole, a vent hole and a pour hole and things like that, and you melt some metal, cast iron or whatever metal you're using, and you make them, and then you let them cool off, and then you knock the sand out of the core box. And some castings you then give to a chap who's got a machine that machines some of the surfaces perfect. Some of them you give to an apprentice with a vice and a file, and some you just leave as they come out of the sand. Now, this particular little bracket on the finished vehicle is underneath some padding and underneath a weatherproof cover. So obviously nobody bothered to fettle this particular casting. I don't know where the nearest foundry is that could make one of these. I'm sure there are little foundries in France that could make them, but I don't know where they are. So if I decided I was going to build a wooden cart with metal brackets on it, I would probably end up having to buy these in from a foreign country. We need little workshops that can make things. Well, this is one of the two brackets that holds the roof of the carriage. There's a bolt goes through there that the swivelling capo, the roof goes to. It's the shape for going on the well, I'm going to say wings of the carriage, and it's got this little sort of trap place that the other bracket that I've just shown you sits across and traps that down. There's another one goes down there. Now this piece has got all of the feel of a piece made by a blacksmith in a forge. I could be wrong, but that's what it feels like. You know, he would have started with a bar of metal and he would have knocked it about and got it hot, and when it was nice and hot, shaped it round the beak of an anvil, or yeah, how he set that, I'm not a blacksmith, I don't know, but it's got the feel of a piece made by a chap that knew what he was doing. And he was probably standing in a forge knocking out several dozen of these an hour. I'm sure he would have had a former that he would have checked that he got the curves right and all of that sort of thing. But there we are. That's a bit cleaner than it was. I'm going to go and throw some paint on that. See if we can't make it last another 100 years. Of course, part of making anywhere great again is making sure everyone's got food. And that's one thing to make sure they've all got work, and it's one thing to make sure they can make things. But without food, nothing happens. This is the Swede, the rutabaga. Needs thinning out. I have thinned here and there because I've been preparing little bits of bed here and there and transplanting them. I've taken advice from people who know about these things, and they all give different advice, but that seems to be about the distance apart. Yeah, you know, you sort of think about it and you think, how many of these do I want? Do I want one a day in my dinner? I don't really know. It's a vegetable that as children we just didn't touch. I think my family thought they were really only for animal feed. But we'll see. We'll see what they do. I'm going to have some leeks to eat, that's certain. But again, you sort of think, how many leeks do I want? Well, a good sized leek, I guess I only want one a day for a while, don't I? yeah, I'm sort of pleased with the way some things are going. I thought just to wrap this video up, you'd probably all like a look at the brakes on this carriage. Now, there's a little handle that's missing a nice wooden handle, but that's not going to be a big issue, is it? And you wind that handle, and we've got an Acme screw thread that runs in a block like that, which has got a pin on it with a split pin which pulls on a rod which is bolted to this, I don't know quite what you'd call that, this thing, which turns this, which then has this serpentine thing here which comes round to a brake block which binds on the tyre. Now, when I said the other day that this brake works, it doesn't really, because when you get to about there, it gets all a bit sticky, because obviously this thread is not awfully clean. I think that wants cleaning up a bit, don't you? But I thought you'd like that. I'm guessing that I just undo that, and I'm guessing that that is splined onto there, I guess. And to equalise the brakes, there's a big bar that goes through the back of the carriage and does the same thing on that side. Good, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a thing. Quite a horrible thing, but it's, no, it's a thing, isn't it?